I'm Joe Blow. No.
And where we are.
Oh, I'm in San Francisco. I'm Steiner and Waller, and my name is Ronald John Pinkham. My mother is Marion Johnson Pinkham Bohannon, and her mother was Lillian Oatman Major, and her mother, Lillian's mother, was Jane Allen Oatman.
And here's the photo.
And there's a picture of her, and I think she must have been about 18, maybe, if that. Because when she got older, she became a total Christian and wouldn't even bother doing anything like dressing up like that.
Oh, she did?
Didn't. She was total Christian to the end.
Really?
Her husband wasn't, Jim Oatman wasn't, and then she talked about a couple of her brothers, and there was another sister she had.
May Dolly?
It might have been Dolly. I knew May when I was a little kid, and where the daughter ended up abandoned, and she ended up marrying a guy named. They lived in.
Viola, is she the one that got abandoned?
No, darn. What was her name now? I can't even think, because we used to always go to her place. She lived in on the Umatilla Reservation, and she'd talk about that. Oh, they went and just left me, and she'd get mad. Her half brother was Guy Broncho.
Her half brother was Guy Broncho.
Yeah. That was her half-brother, this lady, and she married this one guy who was a descendant of one of the superintendents of the BIA 100 years ago or so, and then they married, and then I don't know if they had any children. No, she had a daughter, and she used to, because she was an Allen, and she used to make outfits for the Pendleton Roundup for the Happy Canyon. This lady made all the outfits for them, all matching outfits, buckskin dresses and the whole works. And she's talked about the family and how she disliked some of them because they abandoned her when she was a little child. And
that's a terrible story in some ways.
Yeah. And
who was her mother and father that abandoned her?
I just can't think of it. So if you looked up Guy Broncho, you'll know who the mother was, I think, and probably who the father was. But it sounded like her father was Mark, but I don't think it was him, really, because I thought Mark, all the children were all together.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and I didn't hear anything about John Allen like that, and then Clifford.
Johnny or?
Yeah, the old man.
Yeah.
And then there was with Clifford and Kenny, because my mother worked with Kenny a lot. And then Kenny Allen.
Who was his mom and dad?
I forgot. He used to work with the tribe for years, and he was really from the Pendleton area. And then Clifford with his 17 children.
You mean the one that's alive right now? Yeah.
Yeah. I always laugh about that because they tell the story about where Kenny had one set of kids, 8 or 9 kids, and the sister to the mother of his children was the babysitter. He got rid of his wife and married the babysitter and has kids from her. And he's still married to her, Sylvia. I think that's her name. And that's, then I met Mark.
So that's your cousin, basically.
Yeah, and then I met Mark, and then the third one, the younger one. I think it's 3 Mark Allen, just like there was 3 Johns.
Yeah, right, right.
So I met them.
There were 3 Johns? Oh yeah, John Jr. Okay.
Yeah,
And then John David, my dad. And then
your brother.
Johnny. Yeah, my brother, and then Johnny. Before that.
Yeah, because I remember meeting Towitz after they found him.
Oh.
I think they found him in Salem? summers over there, and they found him, then brought him back and made him Indian. Used to laugh about that. Poor thing. And then that's about the time I met you after he drowned.
Yeah.
And everything, having the ceremonies along the river
Yeah.
with that one family and such. And I used to run around with Dino's, and all the rest of us did. A lot of the Oatmans did too. Ran around with him.
Yeah.
And that's how we used to do that.
You know,
What was the other question I told you about?
Jane Oatman. I want to talk about Jane and Cy and Irene. Irene's half brother, who we don't know his name now.
Yeah, I can't even think of his name.
Did you meet Amos? Their dad?
No, just Cy, and then the son who lived in Georgeville. I used to, when I lived with Clarence and Annette, I used to travel back and forth by bus to do his business. I did a lot of his business for his allotments and stuff on the money he received, and then my grandmother as well, Annette. Her maiden name was Black Eagle. And
Oh, Black Eagle, yeah. I've seen that name a lot.
and so I got on the bus, and then that's how I met Cy. And we started talking to each other on the bus, and we went to Pendleton, and then my grandmother picked me up, and I don't know who picked him up. Maybe his daughter, Janie Pond. And so we got to talking to each other, and that's how I met him. And then later, when going to the medicine.
Did he look like an Allen? No, he wasn't an Allen. He was a Wilkinson.
Mm-hmm.
But
Then met his son.
okay, wait. Who was his mom? Who was his mom? Do you know?
Darn, I can't even think.
Amos was his dad,
Yeah.
and did he never said who his mother was?
Mm-mm.
Irene never said who her mother was.
No, because there's sort of a, how you say, sort of a mix-up in where the family doesn't tie together. And because of one set of the family ended up with 3 different names, like Jim Oatman. They ended up with 3 brothers, ended up with 3 different names, and they're all full brothers, but now you can't tell.
Oh.
One was a Wilson, last name was Wilson, then you had Oatman, and I think the other one was Paul, last name was Paul. There were 3 full brothers, and now they don't link each other together. We just,
That's crazy.
I know it, that's weird, and Grandma used to tell me about that. And then as you go backwards, what's her name? Her mother was Lucy Seven. I think that was her name. Lucy
Yes, I've heard that name. Whose mother?
That was, you know, Thelma Oberly?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, her maiden name was Thomas, and her mother was Edna Thomas. And I don't know what her actual name was, but then as you go backwards on her, there were 3 sisters, and then one of them was considered Pillai because when she was younger she got hit or something like that. And that's how they used to tell how this mix-up occurred. And then with the 3 brothers, with the Oatman, who was trying to figure out the Looking Glass line. And then I started looking up the Allen line because it's there when you look at Lillian, and you just go backwards on that and found out who the 3 4 brothers were. And knew May when she lived near Spalding, above the church, along the, whatchamacallit, knew her.
Who was that?
May.
Oh yeah, May. Okay.
And then
That was the old family homestead, wasn't it? I mean, I've got lots of photos of Allen's in the Spalding.
yeah, because if you come up the bridge from where the cemetery is, you go up that bridge, and then there used to be a house right there on the side of the hill, and then Lapway Creek, and then the church down below. She lived in that house.
Ah.
And that's where we used to go visit her, because when I was young with Jane,